And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Most of the games I talk about are brand new. I usually get games sent to me that have been produced in 2008, although occasionally, I'll talk about games from 2007, 2006, newer games. Well, the game I'm going to talk about today actually came out in the 17th century, although it basically has been doubled to make a new variant of the game. The original game was Shutter, and now the game is called Double Shutter. And it's basically a very simple game from Blue and Orange Games, and they basically just taken the original game and doubled the rows. However, I will contend that doubling in this case does a little bit more than just times 2. It actually increases it more than that. But let's look at the game. Let me explain it. The game Double Shutter comes in this really nice tin box, basically, good quality with these really heavy domino type tiles here that fall down easily. I have it tilted towards you a little bit so that you can see it better. And then it comes with 2 dice, and the dice are okay, but they're thick, heavy dice. And each player takes a turn. So here's how a turn goes. I'm going to play through a round, and you can see how well I do in this round. I roll the dice. Okay, in this instance, I've rolled a 6, a 5, and a 1. Now that allows me to do a couple things. First of all, I can flip down the 6 tile, or I can flip down the 5 and the 1 if I want to, or I can flip down the 4 and the 2. Or if I want to, I could even flip down the 3, the 2, and the 1. Something that gives me a total of 6. Well, in this instance, I'm just going to flip down the 6. All right, let's see what happens. I roll the dice again. This time I've rolled an 8. I'm going to do the same thing here. With 8, I have a huge pile of combinations, but in this instance, I'm just going to flip down the 8. Just the way I play, we'll see what happens. Now I got a 7. Will I do the same thing and just flip down the 7? You betcha. All right. And maybe I'm not a very good player at this. There's a 5. Now with the 5, I'm going to knock down the 3 and the 2. Now, as you can see, as I'm flipping these tiles down, another row of tiles comes behind them. And they're the exact same numbers, 1 through 9, but they're in reverse. Okay, I roll again. I got a 4. Now my options are getting more limited, but I think in this instance, I'm just going to knock down the 4 that's in the back. I roll again. I got a 7. Well, that 7 in the back has been released, but I think I'm going to knock down this 4 and this 3 instead. I roll again. I got a 2. Now I look around. Is it possible for me to get a 2? Yes, here's a 2 right here. So far, I'm doing okay. I'm actually getting a lot of tiles knocked down. I just rolled a 5. I'll knock down this 5 in the front. Now I've rolled a 4, and I look, and is there any way for me to get 4? I see a 1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 9. There's not. So my round here is over. So according to the rule book, which is really only a couple pages, the red pages are the English, the yellow pages are the Spanish. According to the rules now, I'm going to look at my score. I'm going to total all the numbers on the tiles that are still up and then double the ones in the front row. So in the front row, I have 1 and 9, so that's 10. And then in the back row, I have 10, 18, plus 7 is 25, plus 6 is 31, 36, plus 10, 20, because the front row is doubled, is 56. So my score is 56. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the lowest score. Whoever gets the lowest score each round gets 1 point. Now, if you manage to knock down, let's say, all I'm left with is a 3 and a 1 in the back row. Once you're down to 6 or less total, you are allowed to roll just 1 die, but you do the same thing. That's the only rule. I've very rarely seen it happen because it's very difficult to get the whole box shut down. Very simple game. When I first played the original Shutter with just 1 row, I thought, is that it? I mean, really, you roll the numbers and you hope you get lucky. Okay, the same thing here. In fact, if you want to try this game out, you don't even need to purchase it. You can go online to Blue and Orange Games, and there's a flash version of it. You can try it. Although their version, you actually get positive points for the tiles you knock down. It's basically the same thing, but, I mean, either way works fine for me. The front row counts for single points. The back row counts for double points as you knock them down. It basically works out to be the same. The quality is wonderful. I really like how these tiles, they fall down and fall up. Everything, you just throw the dice in the box, put the lid on, and there you go. Easy to carry around, looks good. Just, a tremendous tabletop game. It's also very simple. Hey, roll the dice, add up. It's wonderful for elementary kids. It's wonderful for kids who are learning to count because you can say, hey, how can we divide that 6 up? Yeah, you can take the 1 and the 5, or you can take just the 6, but you also can take the 1, the 2, and the 3. And that's just in a fantastic way, especially when I get large numbers like 12. Imagine the possibilities you can get. It is possible to lose very quickly. Let's say you roll a 6, and so you knock down the 2 and the 4. All right? Behind the 2 is an 8, behind the 4 is a 6. And then your next roll is snake eyes. Well, the only way that those add up is 2. There's nothing else you can do, and you're out on the second roll. Okay, that's rare, but I've had it happen to me. This game isn't any great shake strategically. It really isn't. I mean, there's some thoughts on it. When you watch me play, you saw me. What I tried to do was knock down numbers that gave me a decent number behind them that I thought I could use in future rolls. If I have large numbers, in the front row, I try to knock them out of the way as soon as possible. That gives me access to the smaller numbers behind them, which gives me more things that I can add up. And there's some interesting facts, interesting ways that works out. And for that reason alone, I think it makes it much better than the original Shutter, because the original Shutter, you just knock down numbers and hope for the best. Here, there's another layer of strategy, but it's still very light. However, there's a bunch of people out there who law it can't stop. This game where you roll dice and you move things based on probabilities. This is simpler than Can't Stop, but it's along the same sort of lines. You roll the dice and you work with the probabilities, and it's fun and it's fast. You saw how quickly I just played through a whole round there for you, and each player can play the round, and it's something you can do on your own. Although if you're going to do it on your own, just play the Flash version on the internet. But if you're going to play with someone else, this is a fun way. It's a good game. It works great for kids, but hey, it's just an entertaining pastime for some adults too. Nothing that's terribly taxing on your brain, but a very nice case, a very nice situation, and a very good upgrade to an old game, something that you can easily get people to play. So for that, I'll give this one a recommendation. Double Shutter.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.